President Trump has banned the use of Anthropic's AI software after a dispute over the way that AI can be used. And this most certainly will affect the war in Iran. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about President Trump banning the use of Anthropic AI in the federal government. Now, the reason is because there's a dispute. Anthropic says, we don't want you guys to use this for surveilling Americans or in fully autonomous weapons, meaning weapons that can operate on their own without human intervention. The federal government say, we're going to use this however we want as long as it adheres to the law. Anthropic says, we don't believe your interpretation of the law. We don't think you're doing it legally, so we want to have final say on what we deem to be legal or illegal. The government's like, well, how about this? We're going to just ban you and switch to OpenAI instead. Now, it'll take a while for them to do it. The Iran strike that already happened and the strikes that are continuing to happen, they're using Anthropic right now. So in the next coming months, I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but after a while, they will phase out Anthropic and go to OpenAI. Now, before I go any further, let's get straight to some clips. Of course, I will link to everything in the description box if you want to see it and hear it without my commentary. If you're on IG, Facebook, etc., visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
The U.S. military attacks on Iran were carried out with the help of artificial intelligence tools from the tech company Anthropic after the Pentagon announced it was ending their partnership. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. The Pentagon says it has no comment. Anthropic is the company behind the popular AI assistant Claude. The military used a government version for its intelligence and cyber operations, but decided to give it up after a disagreement with Anthropic over limits on how it could be used.
Let's pause 1 minute. Now, they're going to go to OpenAI after they phase out Anthropic, and OpenAI is behind ChatGPT. Let's keep going.
Senior business and tech correspondent Jolene Kent spoke exclusively with the company's CEO before the United States launched its attacks on Iran.
We sat down with Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei just hours after the Pentagon's deadline to strike a deal with the company over how their AI is deployed by the U.S. military.
It's about the principle of standing up for what's right.
The Pentagon wants total access without restrictions. Anthropic wants limits on mass surveillance of Americans and fully autonomous weapons. The central question, who should have the final say in how one of the world's most powerful AI is used by the world's most powerful military?
Do you think that Anthropic knows better than the Pentagon here?
One of the things about a free market and free enterprise is different folks can provide different products under different principles. Our model has a personality. It's capable of certain things. It's able to do certain things reliably. It's able to not do certain things reliably. And I think we are a good judge of what our models can do reliably and what they cannot do reliably.
Let's pause. So the question that she asked him was, do you guys over at Anthropic think you know more than the federal government? He's saying, from what I was able to gather, that we know our models better than they do. So we may not know more about war and the laws and whatnot that the government does, but we know our system more than they do. That's what he's saying. If y'all disagree, let me know in the comments, but let's continue.
President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth both posted on social media Friday, calling for all government agencies to stop using Anthropic's AI. Just hours before U.S. strikes on Iran.
I think it was made very clear in some of their statements, in some of their language, that this was retaliatory and punitive.
If you had a moment with the president right now, what would you say to him?
We are patriotic Americans. We have done everything we have done has been for the sake of this country, for the sake of supporting U.S. national security. We believe in defeating our autocratic adversaries. We believe in defending America. The red lines we have drawn, we drew because we believe that crossing those red lines is contrary to American values. Disagreeing with the government is the most American thing in the world. And we are patriots. In everything we have done here, we have stood up for the values of this country.
And you know what? You have that right to be that way. You have that right. It's totally fine. But if you cannot do what's necessary. If you can't do what needs to be done for the federal government, then there's always alternatives. As simple as that.
Now, while the Pentagon says it will be phasing out this technology in the next 6 months, it is very much intertwined in the classified operations of the current partnership. And so that's going to take time. The Pentagon folks are not commenting on whether or not this technology is being used actively in Iran, but we do know its reported use by the Wall Street Journal highlights the fact that this technology is very much embedded within the current situation when it comes to the technology that the Pentagon is deploying throughout its operations globally.
All right, there we go. Now, we got a few more things to get into. Here's a statement that they were talking about from the president. They said Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary or Department of War secretary, and Trump posted some things. Let's just read this right quick. It says, United States of America will never allow radical left woke company to dictate how our great military fights and wins wars. That decision belongs to your commander in chief and the tremendous leaders I appoint to run our military. The left-wing nut jobs at Anthropic have made a disastrous mistake trying to strong-arm the Department of War and force them to obey their terms of service instead of our Constitution. Their selfishness is putting American lives at risk, our troops in danger, and our national security in jeopardy. Therefore, I am directing every federal agency in the USA government to immediately cease all use of Anthropic's technology. We don't need it, we don't want it, and it will not do business with them again. There will be a 6-month phase-out period for agencies like the Department of War who are using Anthropic's products at various levels. Anthropic better get their act together and be helpful during this phase-out period, or I will use the full power of the presidency to make them comply with major civil and criminal consequences to follow. We will decide the fate of our country, not some out-of-control radical left AI company run by people who have no idea what the real world is all about. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Make America great again. President Donald J. Trump. There you go. Now, speaking about OpenAI and the alternatives, let's go. Before we get to this, you see what it says right here, New York Times, OpenAI reaches AI agreement with Defense Department after Anthropic clash. The deal came hours after the president had ordered federal agencies to stop using artificial intelligence technology made by Anthropic. All right. And again, Anthropic, they're behind Claude. OpenAI behind ChatGPT. Now, let's get to that one about OpenAI. Check it out.
OpenAI striking a deal with the Defense Department after the president banned Anthropic. Today, Treasury Secretary Bessent announcing his department will terminate all use of Anthropic products, saying the American people deserve confidence that every tool in the government serves the public interest. And under Trump, no private company will ever dictate the terms of national security. Deirdre Bosa is now live outside of OpenAI's San Francisco headquarters for today's Tech Check. And Deirdre, when Katy Perry is downloading, Claude, the public support that has broken out for Anthropic is remarkable over the weekend.
Absolutely, and that's what this is all about. On Friday, the action was outside of Anthropic headquarters across town, messages of support on the sidewalk. But today, the story has moved very, very quickly to OpenAI. So I'm outside of the OpenAI headquarters where people have been busy. Take a look at some of these messages on the sidewalk and chalk outside. Here's one: OpenAI is nothing without its people. When is it time to quit? Be brave. How far is too far? What are your red lines? And then, an American flag. This goes on quite a bit further down the street, as you can see. And rather than support, this is really a call to action. We spoke to some of the people who are doing this. They're not OpenAI Anthropics. They're not OpenAI employees nor Anthropic employees. They say they're simply concerned citizens about the direction that all of this is heading. And Kelly, this really goes beyond that Department of Defense contract we were talking about on Friday. You mentioned it. You've got Bessent saying that he's going to end any kind of partnerships or contracts with Anthropic. You've got the president saying that no government agency should work with Anthropic. And now it is designated a supply chain risk. So that is a very, very big step that the people I'm talking to are saying that's the part they take issue with, not the DOD dropping a contract, but this wider designation. Kelly, you mentioned this at the top as well. OpenAI may have won the contract, but Anthropic right now is arguably winning the narrative among consumers and developers. Of course, you had Anthropic shoot to the top of the App Store, dethroning ChatGPT for the very first time. And this is very much still playing out because this is what OpenAI employees are seeing as they walk into work this morning.
Right. And Dario Amodei, I believe it was on 60 Minutes, too. I mean, there's so much focus on this as a PR strategy. Absolutely brilliant. And of course, the rest of it remains to be worked out. Deirdre, for now, thanks. Appreciate it. Fascinating.
So there we go. That's what's happening with the dispute between the federal government, Anthropic, and now the federal government has OpenAI. Now, here's my last piece on this. Let's wrap it on up, put the bow on top. I think that Anthropic may be the better AI right now, potentially, maybe. Again, I'm not an AI expert, so don't take this is just my humble opinion as a regular dude in this house, just looking at it. I think Anthropic might be the better AI, but OpenAI is good enough for what needs to happen. And as we go further into development, as AI rapidly changes, we're going to see the gap close, and OpenAI will do everything we needed to do. Okay, I think it'd be just fine. Now, as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to the federal government. I understand what's going on here. You guys want to do what you want to do, the way you want to do it without having to answer to a private company. That has to be the case, because if the private company has any kind of say so, then it's like, okay, are you guys a branch of the government? Are you guys able to dictate who wins and who loses when you're talking about war? Like that shouldn't be the case. That's really a security risk. That's going to be an issue that'll pop up later. So rather than just trying to capitulate and do stuff, okay, look, we're the government. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. If you guys are on board, great. If you're not on board, great. Let us know right now so we can move forward with OpenAI. That's pretty much the way I see it going. And again, things are moving so fast with AI rapidly, and they're getting toward that quantum situation. Like once that happens, it might just be 5 years from now. So I think this is going to be temporary. This little blip, this little mix up, go to OpenAI. And by the time 5 years comes along, this would be a distant memory. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about what's happening with Anthropic and OpenAI and the federales? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I say, hey, if the government needs a piece of software, a system or something like that works the way they want it to work, I don't see what's wrong with that. The key will be, let's be lawful, let's be constitutional, let's not do anything that would violate the law and the Constitution. That should be the red line right there. And I don't think it should be up to a private company to determine that, in my humble opinion. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.